Sorry, we're rising for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
I
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay.
I recommend that minutes regarding the matter of security approval of emergency operations plans remain sealed.
So moved.
Second. Those in favor? And abstaining? That's good. You're in favor. Abstaining?
Just Pat.
Just Pat.
That's okay. I recommend that minutes pertaining to the privacy of students and their records, approval of home instruction requests remain sealed.
So moved.
Second. Any questions? Those in favor? That is, yep, and abstaining. Thank you, Pat.
I recommend that minutes pertaining to the privacy of students and their records, appeal of CTC admission denial remain sealed.
So moved. Second.
Those in favor? And abstention, Pat. Thank you.
There were 6 votes taken in executive session. The first vote on the emergency operating plan, 10 in favor with Chambers, Hopkins, Phelps, Champlin, Luzon, Colasante, Lyle, Purcell, Giusti, and Reynolds in favor. Homeschool requests, there were 10 in favor with Chambers, Hopkins, Phelps, Champlin, Luzon, Colasante, Lyle, Purcell, Giusti, and Reynolds in favor. There was a request for a 5-minute recess, 10 in favor with Chambers, Hopkins, Phelps, Champlin, Luzon, Colasante, Lyle, Purcell, Giusti, and Reynolds in favor. There was a return to executive session, 10 in favor with Chambers, Hopkins, Phelps, Champlin, Luzon, Colasante, Lyle, Purcell, Giusti, and Reynolds. A vote on the CTC admission denial, 8 in favor with Chambers, Champlin, Colasante, Giusti, Luzon, Lyle, Purcell, and Reynolds in favor, and 2 opposed with Phelps and Hopkins opposed. And then return to executive session, all in favor. Chambers, Hopkins, Phelps, Champlin, Luzon, Pouliot. Oh, no, sorry, not Pouliot. Sorry. Colasante, Lyle, Purcell, Giusti, and Reynolds in favor. Sorry about that.
There's no recognition this evening.
Oh.
So we've come up to public forum. Everybody who wished to speak, hopefully signed up on this piece of paper. First, I have Lola Fleischman.
My name is Lola Fleischman, and I'm from Charlestown. I was very sorry to hear of Andrew McQuaid's resignation from the Chair Ho School Committee. Based on recent elections, I would say that Mr. McQuaid did an excellent job of representing the majority of Charlestown voters, and I would like to read his parting words to the Town Council in open forum. To the Honorable Charlestown Town Council, please accept this correspondence as my resignation from the Chair Ho School Committee. It has been an incredible honor to serve Charlestown in the Chair Ho Regional School District. I first served as a member of the school committee in 2006, and as I step away again, I'm incredibly proud of the progress this district has made and continues to make. As happens from time to time, Chair Ho is at a crossroads. Our elementary schools do not reflect the quality of the teaching and learning happening inside, to the detriment of our students, educators, and community. While some may long for the one-room schoolhouse, our reality requires 21st century schools for 21st century learning. Charlestown voters spoke clearly in support of a better vision of our elementary schools. If necessary, I would ask the council to explore going it alone and building a new elementary school for Charlestown. We should not retreat from the need to provide Charlestown's next generation a learning environment that will facilitate boundless outcomes for their futures and ultimately Charlestown's future. This November, Chair Ho voters will decide the future direction of our district. For at least the past 2 decades, the Chair Ho School Committee has chosen to partner with the administration to facilitate forward progress. The outcome of that work speaks for itself. However, Cheraho is very close to having a majority of school committee members that would prefer an adversarial, mistrusting approach to Cheraho and its leadership. They are more focused on litigating national noise at the local level, regardless of its applicability, and rarely do the actual work of a committee member. A memorable example of this is when members of the minority bloc voted against renewing our confidential student crisis reporting call-in resource because it was funded at no cost to taxpayers by the Sandy Hook Promise Foundation. This was after our superintendent shared that this resource had saved a student's life, and after Chief Johnson of Richmond told the committee of his support and its importance. They chose to risk students' lives with no plan should they have succeeded, and now they are asking Cheraho voters to put them in charge. While I'm momentarily unusually pessimistic, my hope lies in what I've experienced in our schools. Our administration is laser focused on improving student achievement for all students, mindful of Cheraho's fiscal constraints, and committed to setting our students and community up for success. I hope Cheraho voters reflect on the progress of the past 20 years as they consider our district's future in November. Again, thank you for the privilege and opportunity to serve. Sincerely, Andrew McQuaid. And thank you, Mr. McQuaid, for both your service and your wisdom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Craig?
Craig Luzon, Charlestown. I've been on this committee for quite a long time now, and I truly respect that public forum is for the public. It's not for us, but I chose to come up here tonight because the last meeting, I was kind of really upset over it. Some things happened during public forum where some people were arguing, fighting with one another. This is not the venue right here to be announcing you're running for political office, not once, but 2 meetings in a row. This is not the venue to be having a political feud with another citizen. I side with one of those citizens, but this isn't the place to do it. Okay, this is for the students. All right, and last, maybe when someone gets up and speaks at public forum and complains about others, do a little self-reflection and see if you've acted in the same manner you're condemning somebody else for. Because I know the last 2.5 years have not been pretty at school committee meetings. And I think most of us can attest to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Craig. Okay, on to business.
So item A, Special Education Advisory Committee, also called SEAC, it's 2024-2025 annual report. I am recommending that you accept their annual report and place it on file. I would like to thank the committee members, Sarah Algieri, Vice Chair Nicole Allen, Secretary Ann Sefranak, and Treasurer Christina Costa for all their work there this past year. These are parents who volunteer their time for this valuable cause.
So moved.
Second. Any questions? Jess?
So I just had a question about the money. They have money, and I'm wondering, like, where does the money come from? What do they use it for? Are there events they can host?
I know, I was chair of the SEAC. They do fundraisers.
Okay.
There was a dodgeball tournament. There are other fundraisers that they do. They get the unified basketball team together with other students, and I think we should do more of them,
Yeah,
to be honest.
part-
The dodgeball was great fun. Everybody loved it, and we should do it again every year.
because I see they have money, but they didn't spend any money. So that was part of why I asked.
Yeah.
They do
just sat
attend
there.
many events. You probably see them at Odyssey, but the meetings that are scheduled are posted, and we announced when they're happening. So if you'd like to visit one, that would be great. I think they're always looking and trying to recruit more. As Polly knows, it's not necessarily well attended. When we do Zoom, it actually has more attendance, but in the end, they really are in the best interest of the kids, and they are able to like bring out the ice cream truck during like the unified, after our unified season's over. So they do a lot of nice events for our students.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you.
Item B, legal counsel agreement. I am recommending approval of the legal counsel agreement between the Charahoe Regional School Committee and Brennan Recupero Kresge LLP from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. For your reference, we included the legal budgets from our 3-member towns, as well as East Greenwich, and most recently, our building committee attorney, Permenter. As you can see, the attorney fees we pay in Charahoe are significantly less than 2 of our member towns. I also think it's important to note that we are currently interviewing for a new director of administration and finance to replace Ned Draper, and we are preparing for interviews, sadly, for a new confidential secretary to the superintendent to replace Miss Donna Siskavich for this upcoming October. With that in mind, the district is losing historical knowledge that has served us well. It is my advice that this is an important reason to retain Attorney Anderson. However, more importantly, I would like to note that the legal advice Attorney Anderson has provided to the district and the school committee has been second to none. Mr. Anderson has shown time and time again that he has Charahoe's best interests in mind at all times, and during his tenure with us has not lost a case. I can tell you that most school districts do not have a flat rate for their attorney, which is a huge cost savings for us, but more importantly, it allows us to operate to be preventative versus being on the defense. It is for these reasons that I hope you will approve this contract.
So moved.
Second. Questions or comments on John's contract? Donna?
Everything she said.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? I've enjoyed a good working relationship with John, and I, again, agree with everything that the superintendent said. I think we'd be foolish to lose him as our attorney. John, do you have any comments? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine, did you have a comment?
I just wanted to say, it is very impressive. Attorney Anderson hasn't lost a case, and it's appreciated that the flat rate is a savings. The only thing that I wanted to say is that this agreement, this is public, right? And that was online, right? That anyone could see. So to me, just for future reference, I would have thought it would be more applicable to see like maybe other school districts, what their agreement looks like, rather than comparing it to municipal. That's the only comment that I have.
So actually, I can add, the only other district in the state that has a flat rate is North Providence, because actually that was the first town that the Scungio Recuperating law firm had started with, and then they started the ball rolling. But you can speak to my colleagues, which will tell you that every phone call is you have to pay for every hour, where they no one can call the attorney without the chair's approval, without the superintendent's approval, because of the costs that can be incurred. So I value the fact that that doesn't happen here, but there are no other flat rates, just North Providence and Charahoe.
Any other questions or comments? Donna?
Irregardless of the cost of John's firm, the historical knowledge is incredibly valuable, and his statewide knowledge with the Department of Ed and the legal system in Rhode Island has been very, very valuable to all of us, I think. So I am a big fan, and I absolutely approve this contract.
All right, if we're ready to vote, those in favor? Okay. And those opposed? And, all right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is item C, Learning Inside Out Initiative Memorandum of Agreement between the Rhode Island Department of Education and the Charahoe Public School Committee. An extension was requested and granted by RIDE. The grant was approved May 23rd, 2023, with the approved project expenditures not to exceed $99,634 and can only be used for eligible expenses incurred between June 1st, 2023 and June 30th, 2025. I'm recommending the approval of the Memorandum of Agreement, Amendment Number 1, change to the expiration date. If approved, all committee members will need to sign the MOA.
So moved.
Second. Questions? This is basically the extension.
You're just an extension, right?
That's all it is. It's just extending the timeline.
Okay. What's the need for the extension, Gina? Have we just not identified things?
It's just there, it's only also on their end. There's just different funds that have to be accrued, and it gives us more time to ensure that they're going into the right places.
Further questions, comments? Those in favor? It's unanimous, thank you.
Item D, this is,
Chair, could you just tell everybody we're gonna pass this around the sign?
oh, yeah, please make sure it's Donna.
Everybody needs to sign it.
Donna does not like if she has to chase you guys down.
Thank you.
Okay, so item D is the District 2023-2024 Annual Report. Please join me in extending our heartfelt thanks to Katie Karakosian and Donna Siskavich for once again their exceptional hard work on the annual report that they do every year for our school district. Their dedication and meticulous attention to detail have ensured that this important document truly reflects the achievements and progress of our district. We deeply appreciate the time and effort they invested to make this report a success. I recommend the approval of the 2023-2024 annual report. Upon approval, it will be placed on our website and emailed to our families tomorrow.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any questions, comments? Those in favor?
That's fun to me.
Unanimous, thank you.
Item D, next steps as they relate to elementary school planning and the phase out of Hope Valley Elementary School. Yesterday, the Bureau Veritas North America, BVNA, reached out to us as they have been retained by the Rhode Island Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to schedule facility condition assessments, FCAs, and facility suitability assessments for the Charahoe Regional School District. The project is being overseen by the Ride School Building Authority. To clarify, an FCA is an analysis of the condition of the present facility to determine the remaining useful lives of the building components and to develop a replacement schedule of value. A facility suitability analysis is to determine the conformity of the school to desired standards. This analysis, along with other data and enrollment projections, will be used to report and forecast future funding requirements. This information allows the state to strategically and effectively spend available facility funding to provide the opportunity for student learning to occur in healthy, safe environments. They will be sending their project assessors to complete the site inspections during the month of September. They are required to speak with on-site personnel familiar with the facility. Jason Sullivan, our Director of Buildings and Grounds, will be there. They have shared that they will be reviewing 100% of building interior spaces, maintenance areas, including mechanical and electrical closets, common areas, storage units, exterior of the property, roof access if the building has a flat roof. For safety, they do not get on top of pitched or sloped roofs, and any mobile or modular classrooms. As you know, the May bond failed, and RIDE requires us to have a new elementary capital plan. With that in mind, this review is designed to ensure we understand the most current needs of our buildings while also forecasting the needs for the next 5 years and beyond. It will also assist in revising our current plan on the main campus if need be, which, if you recall, some members were concerned about what should be a priority, and if any changes are needed, we will be able to use this information to update that plan. As a result, we will postpone the necessity for school construction meetings until we receive this information to ensure we are working with the most recent data. So we were just informed about this. My guess, I have not had a chance to speak with Mario Carino from the School Building Authority, but it is based on the failure of the bond. They want to make sure that the district's capital spending plan is, in fact, addressing our facility needs. So they are now getting themselves involved in our facility assessments. As it relates to Hope Valley, as you all know, we have begun the phase out. There are no longer kindergarten classrooms at Hope Valley. The 2 first grade classrooms both have 14 students for a total of 28. And as we plan for FY26, the committee will have to determine if they want to continue with the slow phase out or begin moving out any additional grades, levels of students to the other elementary schools for cost savings. As you know, the budget season for the school committee begins in January, but it will be important to understand that if we need budget cuts, the remaining classrooms at Hope Valley will need to be considered. The current total enrollment for Hope Valley grades 1 through 4 is 102. The overall enrollment in our district is 3,000. currently. And that is my update for both Hope Valley. And if there's any questions about either one, like I said, I've reached out and I'm waiting on more information about how this email came to me. But the school building authority was all copied on it, and I had shared it with Attorney Anderson, as long as the principals, so that we all can be in preparing for their review.
You answered one of my questions. I wanted to know what precipitated their coming in.
So do I.
So you want to find that out. Because
I have my guesses.
you have your
but-
guesses. Okay. So, and my other questions are, how much, can they, will they come in and just give us some recommendations, or can they say,
I'm actually,
oh, so you're still researching?
I just got like hey, we have been hired by the Department of
What
Education.
I'm worried about, could they close the school down on us, and then now we'll be,
I'm gonna,
you,
I
okay.
am digging into
I'm a
all that
little worried
information.
about that.
This is all new,
Okay, so you
hot off the press.
You don't know anybody that's been through it, or anybody?
No.
No district, or okay.
And I don't know if, I don't know yet if my other colleagues, like I said, we just got this. So right now, all we did was notify our principals to prepare for the September. Jason Sullivan and Kathy Koziel, we were asked to submit their names of the principals of each facility and their contact information, because they asked to interview each one. And then I've reached out to the school building authority so I could get some additional information, which I will share in my Friday update.
Just one, what are the backgrounds of these people? Are they, you
am-
don't even know? Okay, I'm sorry. I just,
I like just to repeat it, it's called the Bureau Veritas North America. BV,
so they're they're contracted.
correct.
Okay.
Jess and then Pat.
Okay, sorry.
I was going to ask if you knew which other school districts you're
Um,
getting that,
all-
but
all
I
the
would assume
questions
it's
I
the ones
have.
that don't have new schools. But so my other question was actually not about that specifically, but about this agenda item in general, which is, I'm just curious if there's a way we could have like a summary in the agenda materials, like how Ned has his summary. Not,
There was just, if there's any questions you all have, I only added this because of the email today.
I'm just thinking for
Up to
like,
yesterday.
if folks come to, it's their first school committee meeting and they see that agenda item, like, could there just be like a standing, couple bullets, we're evaluating this because of this, this, and this, a little timeline situation, something that's like a placeholder, and then you could add to it if you need to.
We could, right now, like I said, it's really, the purpose of the item is for all of you to provide us with guidance, not us to give, because the school committee is where the decision's gonna be made. And last year, if you recall, it was as if it was something that came out of the blue. So we put it on the agenda so you all can give us the information, because I need to know on your end what you want to happen.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But also I want people, if they're coming to a meeting, to see, have a little bit of background, if they've never been to a meeting before. Because like with the budget, it's just something, little piece of paper, placeholder. I don't know.
Understood.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Pat and then Kat.
Are any members of the school committee invited to join this tour as these people come in to evaluate the schools?
I don't know. All I know is that they said they need to meet with the building and grounds. It's all that I received. So all of the questions you have, I'm like, we just got the information. I don't know.
Number one, could you please forward the school committee that letter that you wrote? I mean, that you read, not wrote, read, that you just read, that you got, yeah, the email that you received from Red. Could you- Okay, that was number one.
I'll send it in update.
Okay, number two, so, I know that it was quite expensive when the Jacobs report was done. And, so seems like it's similar in that they're evaluating all the buildings. And so this, however, is no cost to the district, because
No.
RIDE's doing it, okay. And number three, to follow up with what Pat said, I would appreciate it if you would ask them and tell, or not even ask them, tell them that at least some school committee members would like to know when they're viewing the buildings, if they could be there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes the most sense. My recommendation would be the necessity for school construction members.
Well, personally, as a school committee member, I would like to, but I mean, it doesn't mean it would fit my schedule, but I would like to.
I would just be careful because there's a quorum, then we have to post it, and RIDE's not gonna allow us to infiltrate their process. So
Right.
we have a responsibility to ensure that we allow them into the buildings. I can't deny them access or hold up for people's schedules. So they'll create the schedule and we have to abide by it, but in the end,
That's
we can't make
understandable.
sure, if everybody wants to come, then it provides a conundrum.
I think it's unlikely that we're gonna have a quorum of people that are gonna wanna come, and, anyways, I just think that I would like to be able to if it's possible.
I will
And
reach
I
out to
can't
Ride,
imagine
but
that
I
we're
can't
gonna have six
guarantee.
or- I
the
can't
attendance.
imagine we're gonna have even 6 people that wanna go, or can go, so.
So RIDE is requiring this. This isn't something that we've requested.
It just says that they were contracted through Ride. That was the terminology, actually the exact terminology is in the email when you see it, but basically they informed us that they were, they're being contracted by Ride to do this review. And like I said, I have my intuition tells me that based on the 90-year-old school buildings and the lack of the bond passing, that where they're concerned about the timeline to be able to adequately handle our facilities.
Seems very school takeover-ish.
that's what
Craig and then Pat.
Gina, didn't you forewarn us about this past winter, that this possibly could play out?
Because we have to provide capital improvement plans every year, Ride understands the facilities and they understand where, what the requirements are. And they know that the elementary schools have been the can has been kicked down the road. I gave you the history last time because our concern was that they would come for our state funding. And my guess is, right now, it's no cost to Chapel, but my guess is it's going to probably see it in the funding that we get back. That's how they'll do it.
And that could impact our budgets, couldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Loss of local control. Life preservers don't help that.
Pat,
Well, how many years ago was it that they came? Was it 6 years ago or how many years ago?
well, that was done by the district. That
Right.
wasn't done by RIDE,
but-
because RIDE requires it since 2018.
Okay.
It was required every 5 years now
So
with the new law.
we were kind of due for one.
Right, so that's when
anyway?
about 2016, I think the official start date was.
Okay.
Catherine?
I only want to say this publicly, that RIDE did require all schools to have their buildings reviewed, and that was when Jacob's report was done like other districts. And according to that Jacob's report, none of our schools were in a condition that warranted replacement, and I just want to make that statement.
Right, in 2016, that
That's
was
correct, that's correct, yes.
2016.
Yep.
Any other comments? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is F, is budget transfers. I am recommending approval of the transfers for August 20th, 2024.
Questions?
Can
I don't know.
can we time out for a second?
Sorry, sorry,
I don't feel we finished E.
Oh, I'm sorry. I asked if there were other comments.
No, but it said, it talks about Hope Valley
Oh.
School and what we,
Did I not finish?
thought
Okay,
there was gonna
I'll
be a
finish.
robust
Did I not read it?
discussion over
Oh, no,
that.
I did read it. Oh, yeah, that's what, if there's anything you need us to know, because we need to know if there's what you all would like to do. Right now, we have the phase out. But
So,
again, the
well, I'll
question,
start the ball rolling.
There
How
you
does
go.
that sound? Right now, there's gonna be grades 1, 2, 3, and 4.
correct.
Okay. And,
Well, and we're housing the pre-K, 3 of the classrooms.
correct. And then hypothetically, next year, there will be 2, 3, and 4.
That's how we originally started, correct.
When's the turning point? Gina, I know, I mean.
I need that
I would
direction from you.
assume- I would assume 3 and 4 doesn't warrant keeping it open anymore. That's my opinion. I mean, I want to hear other people's give their opinions too. But we're talking 2 more years and we're done?
This is the direction I need from this.
Are you done?
Hands are going up. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I just don't
I'm
want
done.
to disenfranchise
For
you.
right now.
Okay, Karen?
Okay, so you stated that we have 2 first grade classrooms at 14 each.
Yes.
Do you have the numbers for second, third, and
Yes.
fourth?
102.
Let me get my computer. Just give me a second, okay?
While we wait for that information, just.
It's
do you have a-
102 total.
I do have that, but I don't know how that's
Yeah.
divided out.
Jess, do you want to jump in while she
Yeah,
gets that
so,
info?
one of the biggest concerns is preschool. Where does preschool go? That was one of
If
the
we
things
close
that I
it completely.
Correct.
most liked about the plan for new schools, is that we'd have a place for preschool, we'd have a place for alternative ed, we'd have a place for inclusive classrooms, whereas trying to reconfigure, put an addition on somewhere, we don't want to do any more mobile classrooms. Can't keep Hope Valley open just for preschool. But that's at top of mind for me.
Catherine?
Yes, I did vote for the decommissioning of Hope Valley based on the information we've been given, and the savings, and we just seem to be, really pressed to try to keep our, budget numbers, in a manner that are not burdensome overly to certain towns, not all towns, but certain towns. However, my, thoughts lately are, I don't know how close we are to not having space for so many more students. Like, I understand the Ashaway School can't take any more kids, right? They're
No,
pretty
Ashway's our
close.
smallest, which is why we recommended that if people were interested in Ashway, that you have a new school with an additional grade band.
So how many more students can Charlestown?
Oh, way over 100.
Okay, over 100 for
Charlestown is over 400 at their max enrollment, and Richmond was almost 600 at its max enrollment at one time.
So how many more? Okay, so
There's
Charlestown
102.
can take over 100 students more,
They both can, correct?
and so can Richmond. So we can accommodate presently 200 more students than we have. So I'll be very interested in seeing what RIDE does with this Veritas North America, who will also review review enrollment projections. I think that's going to be very pertinent information, because God forbid we shut down a school and then, you know, in the future that we need more space and then we have to build. So that
Yeah, we
They
did
did
an
that.
updated enrollment projection for the new school plan, and that showed us that we were on track to the continuing.
Stay steady.
I'm sorry.
It showed it pretty much flat. 'Cause I think Richmond was one, there was one town that grew more than the others, but
They'll,
it
they'll
stayed.
do it again.
Yeah.
Right, always requires enrollment, but what we're not seeing, for example, like what we projected is what we saw. We closed the kindergarten classrooms,
right.
and we knew. That's why the lines were drawn, not to have so many kids at Ashway, so many kids at Charlestown, so many kids at Richmond, because that's where the space lives at Charlestown and Richmond, not at Ashway.
Right. Like I said, my concern is just that if we shut down a school and in the future we don't have enough space, then the cost of building.
There's
could
no
be
reason to
more.
believe that based on our enrollment projections. That was just in out 10 years. We just had that study.
Right, as long as those enrollment projections are, proved to be accurate. All these things are only, trends. You can't know 100%. And one thing, Gina, if you can speak to this, I do know that towns are starting to have like affordable housing, that they have to have a certain amount, and so that could foster maybe more development than we presently have. Have you heard any superintendents at your superintendent association meetings talking about that? Like in rural areas where
We're
we
aware of it.
don't meet those criteria for 10%, and how that could impact the schools.
So we're all aware of it because it's part of the legislation, and I think I've mentioned I'm on the legislative committee. Overall, it impacts different towns differently, depending on the town. Based on the enrollment study that we recently did, it's based on birth rates, based on death rates, it's based on permits pulled, based on buildings, the census. So there's that's how they do enrollment studies. There's no hard or fast, because like, for example, homeschool, charters, different out of district, that all weighs in. But overall, based on the 10-year forecast that we just saw, there was no major increases in our enrollment.
Right, but if they took into account that affordable housing requirement, I just don't know if that would have a significant impact.
I would say that based on the needs of Hope Valley, there's no room for expansion, and it would need significant. We don't have the budget to be able. I mean, we're already cutting buses. We already have the facility. We don't have the budget to maintain for elementary schools.
Yeah, so just succinctly in a nutshell, just to reiterate, so presently we have room for 200 more students.
More than that, but I can give you the exact numbers.
248.
Thank you. Okay, is that accurate, 248?
I don't want to speak, I'd rather make sure I have the
Okay,
exact
so
numbers
anyways,
for the maximum.
And then again, if the affordable housing requirement causes, you know, a large influx of students, you know, is 248 going to be sufficient? That's my thought, and that's where I'll leave it.
I've lost track of the hands. I apologize. Craig,
So I'm going to give some of the information. Okay, Charlestown is certified through the state of Rhode Island, through Rhode Island Department of Education to house 443 students. Right now, we have 253. Richmond, 532 students. Right now, we have 360. Ashaway, 258. Right now, we have 198. In Hope Valley, it says 303.
That's with pre-K.
We're just,
Well, we're much lower than that, actually. Hope Valley, my numbers are as of today. So Hope Valley, is 134, and with pre-K, 234.
thank you. Larry.
A question for Mr. Moffett. How is the Brushy Brook
Can't
project?
really.
No, that's in Hope Valley.
That
Yeah.
is.
I know.
But he's not a member of the committee.
Okay.
Yeah, I apologize, Larry. An
Okay.
email would be a good idea to him to get that information. It's just a little procedurally
Okay.
yucky. Thank you. Anybody else?
But I think I knew where you're going. I can say that when Brushy Brook was originally back about 4 years ago, we had to do a review of enrollment, and they asked us, how would this impact? And I have an old memo that I can look back at from Ned from our records, but overall, we needed to have some certain information to be able to do that review. Like, how many is it going to be? Any section 8? All of this matters when we determine the number of households. Like when they say, oh, 1.8 kids, there was no such thing as a 0.8 kid, right? It's one, or there's 2, or there's 3. So, but originally, typically what happens is they will request some background information on our end, how it will impact. We explained that we needed more information to be able to determine the impact if Brushy Brook came to fruition.
Craig.
so when taxpayers ask me, what's going on? I could possibly tell them, worst case scenario, Hope Valley would stay open maybe 2 more years.
I need that information from all of you. That's why this is on the agenda, because the only time you meet is at a school committee meeting. And the only time you can have this conversation is at a school committee meeting. So this is where this group of school committee members has to have that conversation regarding where we think we need to go.
So I made my statement to stimulate more conversation.
You know, and that's appreciated. I think, as we've said, the impetus of this agenda item being standing is so nobody can say, well, when did you talk about this? We never talked about it.
And also, so I have I know as a majority, I need direction.
So where I come down in my last few meetings, I will say that I think we need to see what the budget does. I'm not at all prepared to say that I would be comfortable closing Hope Valley in 2 years, unless the budget dictates that we have to close Hope Valley in 2 years, because it is quite a significant amount of money to keep that building running as we have fewer and fewer students.
Exactly.
Jess, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I would like to really solicit input from Hope Valley parents. You know, I've talked to different people who have said different things. Some say, a lot of them say, I want to know now. I wish I didn't have to wait and see. I get that. I'd like consistency and routine. And some have said, oh, I wish it just closed right away so then I wouldn't have to be left on the hook. So I think, you know, and I think we made some missteps with that the last time around when we were talking about it. I'm happy to see it as a budget, an agenda item now, but we might have to do, somehow make sure that those parents get here to the meeting to say how they feel.
Yeah, I think this is a good opportunity as a school committee. I'm sorry, Pat, I'm just jumping in. Good opportunity as a school committee member to let Hope Valley parents know that this is on the agenda for every meeting, and we would love their feedback if they want to come to a meeting or send emails, because I agree with Jessica. We need to make sure that we get their input as well. Pat?
I'm just concerned because I think when we discussed this previously with the town members of Hope Valley, that we led them to believe it would be a phase out. So I don't want to them to feel like we're pulling a fast one on them by changing course. So I think that's really important to have them, you know, as time goes on, reevaluate.
Absolutely.
So I know the parents, many of them don't just want a meeting at the school with myself and Mr. Giancarelli. They want it here. So that's why it's on the agenda, because they know you're the ones that will make the decision. So I heard loud and clear that hearing from me that the school can make a decision was a concern to them, because they felt like that was, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And I've explained committees change, minds change based on budgets, based on lots of new information that happened. Sometimes what we know in October is different than what we know in January, which is why I expressed to them what I could do is place it on an agenda every single meeting, so there was always an opportunity, so a parent couldn't say, well, I can't make it to June, or I can't make it, so that it's always available if they can make it, and that they'll have the school committee to be able to have that conversation with. So that was the big ask, that this be held here.
Catherine, final comment?
I appreciate that this has been on the agenda and it's continuing to be on. I think it's excellent. It's couldn't be more transparent than that. It gives us opportunity to keep, addressing the issue, and I appreciate that greatly. And I'm only saying this because it was mentioned that, well, it would be a good thing to let Hope Valley parents know, that this is on the agenda. I'm sure that
Mr.
you
G,
send out.
yeah.
I'm sure you send out texts and all sorts of email communication, so I imagine that has been done, right? To all the Hope Valley parents, that this is on the agenda now for a period of time. Is
Mr. G
that
does a
true?
very nice job, as we know. The principals, usually I put things out, but we ask them to reiterate, because parents listen more to the principal because it's a much smaller chunk. But Mr. G lets them know all the time that this is on the agenda.
Okay.
And the teachers know. Ms. Moffett, can I check?
Any other comments on this agenda item? Ready to move on? Thank you. Budget transfer.
Budget transfer. I recommend approval of the transfers of August 2024.
So move.
Second.
Questions on the budget transfer? You all have them in your packet and they were online. Okay, those in favor? It's unanimous, thank you.
Item G is as a simple budget update. I will ask that while we wait for our Director of Finance and Administration, that you please make sure you reach out to me if you have questions, so that we can ensure that they're answered for you.
Questions? Tyler?
Ned's not still putting this together, is he?
This one was done by Lynn and Ned.
Okay, all right. I'll just say, I mean, I know
Lynn will
the
be- Lynn-
30th, the end of July was his last day, and then this is dated August 9th, so just, he's still doing this?
Ned, we do have Ned and Sue are still under contract in case we need some support, but Lynn worked with Ned on this one, and then she'll take
Well,
over until we hire someone.
Let him know we appreciate that.
I will tell her.
Jess?
So my question was about the efforts to improve free and reduced meal, the program participation. So I'm just curious, how do you do that? Do you have flyers out at open houses, at the school? I think the principal shared, I saw it in the newsletter for Richmond. I shared it on my school committee stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's all the ways that you can think of. Typically, we ask principals at all their events to talk about it. It can be a very sensitive topic for some families, so we try to be thoughtful and sensitive. I know we've also reached out to our member towns so that if they're aware of maybe sometimes situations that we're not aware of, but we offered, for example, I want to say maybe 2 years ago, we were able to sort of offer like a if you sign on to this, we have an incentive through the My School lunchbox. But typically it's communication at events and via like we'll usually get something from Chartwells as well to help boost applications.
I'm wondering, maybe if it's something the Health and Wellness Subcommittee, have they ever done anything specifically to
I'm
increase
not
that?
positive.
Okay,
Yeah, I'd have to-
thank you.
Questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay. The item H on the agenda is the revised 2024-2025 school calendar. This only will impact pre-K. With the updated guidance and legislation passed as it relates to pre-K, the team has asked that we use early release times to ensure our pre-K teachers can work on necessary professional learning and work required for curriculum development, parent consult meetings, and home visits. This will allow the district to also not have to budget money, which we did not budget for the after-school hours that we would be required to pay if necessary.
So moved.
Second.
Questions on the calendar revision? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, next is your consent agenda.
Okay, does anybody have anything that needs to be pulled from the consent agenda?
C.
C.
1A,
Oh, future.
A1 rather.
A1.
A1? Anybody else? Okay,
That's it?
that's it?
You don't want A2?
Yep.
Oh, I was
No, 'cause he
there,
was
I was
here for
there
that.
for the
Oh, okay.
Okay,
the 16th meeting. Correct. Thank you, though.
All right. So, Madam Chair, at this time, I make a motion to approve the remainder.
Second.
Those in favor of the remainder? It's unanimous, thank you.
Madam Chair, at this time, I make a motion to approve A1 executive session minutes of July 16th, 2024, approval of the executive session minutes of June 18th, 2024, minutes not sealed, and Tyler, I hope you do see for me.
He wants you to do C.
I got you, buddy.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor? Yep.
Is that Jess?
That was Jess. And those abstaining, because they were not here. Right, thank you.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve item C, personnel actions.
Second.
Those in favor? That's unanimous, and recusing is Craig, thank you.
Okay, reports. Our back to school updates. We have no subcommittee reports. Our new teacher orientation began today, led by Dr. Camella on August 20th, and it will end on August 22nd. Our teachers and staff will return on August 28th, and our teachers have professional development on August 29th. The first day of school for all students is September 3rd. We are excited to welcome back our students, staff, and families in 2 weeks. We will be sending out a welcome back flyer this week as well, and we will attach our newly done annual report. Kindergarten registrations are as follows. Ashaway, 42 students, we have 2 classrooms. Charlestown, 54 students, a total of 3 classrooms. Richmond, 86 students, a total of 4 classrooms, totaling 182 kindergartners.
Can you repeat that again, please?
I can. Ashaway, 42. Charlestown, 54.
Correct.
Richmond, 86. The discipline overview, this is something that the Department of Ed has asked us to do annually. It's also in legislation. As many of you know, superintendents always review the student discipline data. We do report this to RIE to determine whether the discipline imposed has a disproportionate impact on students based on race, ethnicity, or disability status. For those who may not be aware, there is no hard and fast rule or universally accepted guidance concerning how to determine discipline disproportionality based on race, ethnicity, or disability status. However, we always ask to use quality guidance from the U.S. Department of Ed, and upon review, I'm happy to report that we continue to have no findings of disproportionality in Charahoe. Convocation will be held on Wednesday, August 28th to welcome our educators and staff. It is held in the middle school auditorium. School committee members are always welcome to attend, and if you will attend, please let me know so I may recognize you that you are in attendance, and please review our upcoming events.
School committee requests for future agenda items or legal opinions? Nope.
Oh.
Craig?
Last year, we kind of deviated from the previous decade's norm on budget workshops, and where we combined, I think, 2 of them with regular school committee meetings. Personally, I give it food for thought. Others can speak in the future. I'm just bringing it up now. I prefer to go back to the traditional 4 budget workshops. I know. I won't be here Saturdays and bringing muffins and stuff in, but I don't think we gave enough due diligence to the budget because, well, maybe last year was unique because there was other things on the agenda. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay,
Madam Chair, motion to adjourn.
Second.
those in favor? It's unanimous, thank you.